Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our most anticipated session of the month, which is Personal Finance Masterclass. We have with us Akshat Malhotra from Pennywise and also Gautam assisting Akshat from Pennywise to take us through all the nuances of personal finance and hopefully, let us motivate us to start our personal finance journey starting today. Thank you, Akshat. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you for agreeing to do this for all our clients and their associates. A warm welcome to you. Without further delay, I would like to briefly introduce Akshat to all the audience today and then hand over the session to Akshat. Give me one moment. So, Akshat Malhotra is the founder of Pennywise and has over 8 years of experience working in India, USA, and Mexico in different roles with different companies. During his interactions with people from various cultures and backgrounds, he realized how people struggle with financial literacy and are still ignorant of the essential skills to build wealth. Motivated to make a change, Akshat spent over 2 years studying personal finance in detail. Pennywise is thus born as a courtesy of this inspiration of helping people save and invest from a young age, thereby ensuring a safer tomorrow. In a short span of time, Akshat has facilitated 30 plus workshops on personal finance till date, and that were attended by over 2,000 participants. Thanks, Akshat, once again, and over to you now.
Thank you so much, Shiva, for having us here. It's a privilege to be here talking to so many people, wishing that this session brings together today everything that they wanted to learn about their personal finances. So a big thank you to you, big thank you to Ethika for doing and marking a difference in the industry with all such initiatives that you continuously do on a regular basis.
Our pleasure.
I know people here who are wanting to be, straight away want us to jump to what we've prepared for them. So I wouldn't take too much of time in order to jumping straight away to the session that we've planned for all of you. So hello and welcome everyone. So glad to have all of you here. Super excited to do this session in partnership with Ethika for all of you people. Come on, let me hear some noise in the chat. How excited are all of you? Can I see some round of thumbs ups as to how excited everyone is? I'd love for all of you to use the chat. Okay, I see some thumbs ups flowing in. Awesome. Okay, folks, one honest confession at the beginning of the session itself. So, Shiva kept this session at 3:30, and I am generally a late riser. So, I have late breakfast, late lunch, and because of that, I couldn't have my lunch today. Now, so the only way that I can have that energy back and I can make sure that I give my 100% in this session is by you people giving me some food. Okay. And that food is going to come up in the forms of thumbs up. So please keep throwing in your thumbs up. I'd love to get all that energy. I'd love to feel all of that energy because we want this session to be very interactive. We want this session to be something where you actually take away from. I just don't want to keep speaking for the next 1.5, 2 hours, but we really want to interact and learn from your experiences as well. Awesome. Great. Okay, so yes, let's talk personal finance is the topic of today's workshop. We're going to start from the basics of why should you save and invest to how do you go about creating a proper effective budgeting techniques. From there, understand an overview of all the financial avenues that are available to us. And from there, further understand how do we diversify and how do we create a financial goal plan in an extremely structured manner. Okay, so yes, let me go ahead and get started. I do want to mention a disclaimer out here that we at Pennywise are financial educators and are not agents and advisors. In no manner during the course of the workshop are we trying to sell you any products or giving you any sort of financial recommendations. We want to educate you. We are sharing the means and ways through which you can become more financially literate, as well as discuss and look at avenues of investing in a much smarter way. Right? But I might take a number of examples of products offered by various banks, various institutions, but in no way are we affiliated to any one of them. So whenever you're taking a decision please make sure you consult your advisor, your person, or you make sure that you understand whatever you're doing with your money, right? Because at the end, it's your money. Wanted to put this disclaimer not to scare you, but to aware you, right? So that was the intent of putting this disclaimer here. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this session? I know we've done this, but yes, let's think. Wow, Rohit says 100. Woo! I hope I'm able to live up to Rohit's expectation. Wow, Triveni says 10,000. Okay, come on, let's get the right numbers, okay? Infinity, 100 into 100. Very nice, very nice. Now you guys are playing with me, I know. Now you guys are playing with me. Come on, don't do that. Okay, 1,000, 3,000. No, I like the tens. I like the tens. Perfect. Oh, Ishani is honest there. 8. Okay, so now that all of you have decided to spend your Friday afternoons with us, it's obviously it's our responsibility to give you something, right? And so I was speaking to Shiva, and Shiva said, Akshat, let's give 1 lakh rupees of free money to all the participants. Wow, how cool is that? 1 lakh rupees of free money for all of you guys who are attending this workshop today. Waiting? Okay, before you start throwing tomatoes at me, yes, you're getting this 1 lakh rupees, but you're getting this 1 lakh rupees in the form of virtual currency. Okay, so all of you think that you are there, your weekend is coming up, right? Weekend is coming up, and you're going to go out to the mall with, let's say, your friends, your family. And think of it this way, right? So all of a sudden, you get a message in your on your mobile phone that 1 lakh rupees have been credited into your bank account. Now think of it this way. You're out there in the mall on a weekend shopping with your friends and family. You already spent about some thousands of rupees. And then there you get 1 lakh rupees credited again. Doesn't that give you more boost to kind of shop for other things that you also wanted to buy? Right? So putting yourself in that position, right? Don't think that you're right now here for a personal finance session. Taking yourself to that particular position, what you've got to do is you've got to answer this question. The question is, how are you going to spend your 1 lakh bonus on each of these options? And I don't need an A, B, C, or D. Listen. What you need to tell me is, how much from this 1 lakh are you going to put in A, how much in B, how much in C, and how much in D? Okay? I will pay my credit card bill. Good one, Venkatesh. So you've got to tell me how much are you going to park for each of these options. Put it all together and send it to me. It'll be easier to read. A20, A30. Okay, someone says 30, 10, 30, 30. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. 25 in C, 75 in D. Come on. Take yourself away from this personal finance class to the mall. Move away. Okay, 50 in C, D25 remaining A. Nice, interesting. Okay, someone very conveniently says 25, 25, 25, 25. Very nice. Come on, think something. 30, 30, 40, 70, 20, 60, 40. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, mixed responses. Perfect. So right now, I'm not going to tell you the answer to this question, but maybe through the exercises that we do, by the end of this session, you'll already be able to understand the answer to it. And then we will ask you what should be the adequate response to this, right? Okay, so just before we start, few quick facts and figures for all of us to understand where we stand. And once again, not to scare us, but just to make us aware as to what is the condition of financial literacy in the country. So there was this survey done by one of the leading media agencies, and what they asked was, what percentage of their monthly income do Indians save? Right? And my friends, as sad as it may sound, 35% of Indians, they save nothing. They save nothing at all. They live from paycheck to paycheck, save nothing at all. Right? Scary. And therefore, what happened during the COVID times, we all know people were out of their emergency expenses. How much money do Indians have in their savings account as emergency funds? 57% of Indians, and this survey was done keeping particularly in mind tier A and tier B cities. So 57% of Indians, they have less than 5,000 rupees as emergency funds in their bank account. Tier A was somewhere about 8,000 on an average. Tier B was somewhere about 3,000. So that came an average to be about 5,000 rupees. Scary, right? Scary? Well, yes, unfortunately it is, but we don't want any of us to belong to these numbers. And therefore, let's begin this session. Let's start and understand. Let's go in and understand the importance of why should we save and invest. And as they say, before doing anything in life, there's this very powerful book written by a famous author called Simon Sinek, who says anything that you do in life, start with why. And so, in order to understand why should we save and invest, let's first understand why is it important for us to think about money, to save money, right? And let me ask you this question before we go ahead. Why do you think we need to save money? Why do you think we need to save money? So if you're saying start from the beginning, we've just gotten started, so you're not too late. You're right on track. So, a question for all of you. Why should we save money? Okay, someone says freedom, for uncertainty, getting it used when in need of emergency, to be independent. For emergency, financial stability, absolutely. Very, very valid questions, valid questions. Emergency situations, large purchases, to achieve financial stability, personal growth, future planning, happy life. Very valid, very valid. Very valid answers. Okay. So let me share what we feel are the major reasons why all of us must save money. Why should we save money? Number one, we should save money for any sort of financial plans that we've made. The car that we've always wanted to buy, the shoe that we saw in the mall last weekend, or we want to just go for a vacation, sit back, relax with family. So in order to achieve all of our financial desires, all of our life goals, we need money. And so in order to achieve those things, we've got to save money, because we can't just plan a vacation right out of our salary. We've got to save money for it for a couple of months or years and then plan for that vacation, right? And so in order to achieve or fulfill our desires, we need money. And number two, as many of you rightly said, for any sort of emergencies that may come. It could be any sort of a medical emergency, or maybe a loss in the job, a loss in the business, some sort of a financial emergency, right? So two reasons why all of us must save in order to take care of our financial needs, or rather, the goals that we have in life. And number two, for any sort of emergencies that may come. And therefore, it is advised that all of us must have an emergency fund. Now, what is an emergency fund? Also, for all of you, please do take notes as much as possible. Okay, so take out your diaries, take a pen, and take these notes as much as possible. Okay, so emergency fund. Now, what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is something that can be utilized, that acts as a safety net for us in times of any sort of emergency, right? It is generally said that one must have at least 6 months of their salary in an emergency fund. So if, let's say, you're earning 50,000 rupees a month into 6 months, gives you 3 lakh rupees. So that means you should have 3 lakh rupees saved with yourself at a particular place that wherein in any sort of emergency, you are easily able to go and take out money from that emergency fund, right? Now, why 6 months? The reason here is because let's say if you're out, let's say if by any chance something happened to our job, we don't have a job for the next 6 months. So in that case, we have at least 6 month time of funds that we can utilize to take any sort of decisions. We don't panic. We don't get into any sort of an anxiety or stress. We have at the back of our mind saved enough that can sustain ourselves as well as our families for the next 6 months, because whatever we were earning, we have a safety net for 6 months, right? And that is why it is very, very, very important for all of us to create these emergency funds. Folks, I'll take all of your questions, but I'll take them in the end. So I would request all of you to concentrate on the content. Most of your questions will get covered through the content we've prepared. Whatever is not, I will definitely cover it at the end of the session. Okay? So therefore, it is very, very important for all of us to have an emergency fund. How do we go about creating it? We will just cover in subsequent slides. But let me ask you this question. Is saving money enough? Is saving money enough? Can we live and plan our entire future and live the successful or live the dream that we've always wanted to by just saving money? No. Good to see these answers. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. Great. Yes. As many of you said, saving money is not enough because of this termite which is there in all of our lives. This termite which is there in all of our lives, it doesn't matter what kind of an educational background we belong to, what kind of a company we are working for, what kind of a financial background we belong to, whether we come from a tier A city, a tier 2 city, whether we've done our graduation or we've done our masters, it just doesn't matter. To each and every one of us, this particular thing plays as a termite, and that termite is nothing but inflation. Inflation. The rise in the price of goods and services. It doesn't matter what kind of salary am I drawing per month, but inflation will be the same. Will be in the same measure to me as to any person who's earning less or more than me, right? So inflation is that termite that eats up into our savings, and we are not able to live the life that we've dreamt of. Let's take quick examples to understand inflation. A bottle of Coke, I know this is a glass bottle, but a PET bottle of Coke, year 2000, I was in my school days at that time, it used to be about 15 rupees. The same bottle of Coke, the PET bottle of Coke today in the year 2022 ranges anywhere between 40 to 50 rupees, right? Now, think of it this way. If you would have saved 15 rupees in the year 2000 and you would have put it in the under your pillow that, I'm not going to give this 15 rupees to anyone. 20 years later, I'm going to buy myself a bottle of Coke. Would you be able to purchase it today? No, right? That 15 rupees under the bed would not grow. That would remain 15 only. And today, that same bottle of Coke is costing you 45 rupees, which means you just have 1/3 of the money. So that means saving money is not enough. Let me take you through an Excel and show you some numbers here. I hope you can all see the table. Now,
Yes, Akshat.
thank you. Now, think of it this way. Let's say you have 10,000 rupees with you today. Okay. Let's say the value of this mouse is 10,000 rupees. Sorry, the value of this mouse is 10,000 rupees today. The example. thinking of it about 6% inflation, calculating 6% inflation over the years, and this is something which we've taken into consideration the past 10, 15 years of inflation data, assuming that the inflation grows by the same 6% over the next 20 years, the value or the amount that I would need to spend in order to buy the same mouse is going to be 32,000 rupees. 32,000 rupees. Now, if today I have this 10,000 rupees and I want to buy the mouse, I think, no, I'll just keep it at home. I'll buy it 20 years later. What will happen? I will not be able to buy the mouse. 10,000, it will remain. No change in, no increase in amount by just sitting at home, right? At savings bank, assuming that the bank gives you about 4% return, these days that it's gone a little low. But let's say even if, on an average, we get 4% return, our money grows. Our money definitely grows from 10,000 to 22,000 approx. But has it still been able to beat inflation of 32,000? No, which means our money has grown, but we still cannot afford to buy that mouse. And on the other hand, if we would have invested our money and if we would have invested it in a way that it has been able to give us a modest 10% return over the 20 years, then this amount would have become 67,000 rupees, which means it would have not only beaten that 32,000 rupees inflation, but had also given us that extra money to live our dreams, to take care of all our financial goals. Look at this graph at home, at savings bank, at an investing, how much extra delta we are able to create for ourselves, right? And therefore, it is very, very, very important for all of us to invest our money, because unless and until we don't invest our money, we will not be able to beat inflation and therefore reap the benefits of it, right? And hence, it is important for us to invest. But once again, as Indians, we want to make the most of everything, right? As humans, in fact, we want to make the most of everything. And generally what happens is, as soon as we get to know about, investing is important. Today, I went through a workshop. They told me investing is important. Let me go and look at what can make me rich quickly. Where do I invest my money so that I become rich quickly? But there are a lot of chit, and I was reading through the comments, a lot of people investing in chit funds, any sort of XYZ funds that guarantee us that, within 2 years, within 3 years, we're going to become crore-patis. Our money is going to increase by 10x, 20x, 100x. But how does this really happen? Have you ever thought of it? Now, just put all of these things that you've been hearing over years of life, over phone calls, over social media, to grow your 10x, 20x, 30x, 100x, for the money to become 100x, what is the mathematics behind it? How does money grow? And for money to grow, become 1x, 2x, 3x, 10x, there is this simple concept which we studied in class 7, class 8, but never realized the practical application of it. That is nothing but, as many people call it, the eighth wonder of the world: compounding. Compounding. For our money to grow, it needs to compound. For our money to grow, it needs to compound. And compounding is that wonder that grows money magically over years of time. I will just show it to you in a moment. How does compounding really work? But you know what? Compounding says, boss, I am the eighth wonder of the world. Why should I work for anyone? Why should I work for rather all of you? I will only work for people who club me with the ninth wonder. I am the eighth wonder. I am the hero. I am the heroine. Why should I work for all of you? I will only work for those people who club me with the ninth wonder of the world. And what is that ninth wonder of the world? Any guesses? What is compounding? We'll just come to that. What is that ninth wonder of the world? Mutual fund, investing, asset allocation, SIP. Okay. Yes, few of you said the right things. Hold on. For money to grow, it needs to compound. And for compounding to work, we need to club it with nothing but the ninth wonder of the world, which is patience. Patience. I'm sorry to break this to you, but there is nothing as get rich quick. I know this is a little bit of theory in the beginning, but trust me, we will go to the practical aspects of it. But in order to understand the strategies and the practicalities behind all of these, we need to understand the theory, right? So stay with me for another few minutes, and then we will move on to the practical applications of it. Okay. So for money to grow, it needs to compound, and for compounding to work, it needs time, it needs patience. No one can get rich within 2 years. Your money cannot double within 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years. I mean, sorry, it cannot become 10x, 15x, 20x within 2 years. For money to grow, for money to double, triple, or become even 4 times, it needs time, it needs patience. And how does that work? Let me go and show it to you once again with the help of few numbers. How does compounding really work? And to understand that, let's look at these numbers. Okay, so this is the age when starting, and I'm assuming, let's say for us, for a minute, let's assume all of us are 18 years of age. Okay, this is the initial amount. So we are assuming that you start investing with just 1,000 rupees a month. That's it, just 1,000 rupees a month, which makes it about 12,000 rupees a year, right? We are assuming that you're able to get a 10% return over a 20-30 year period, which is possible. How it is possible, I will come to it later. So don't think that this is some unachievable number. It is very, very achievable. It's actually a modest number. We can achieve more than that as well. And then this is how the value looks after compounding plays into the picture. So what I'm saying here is, let's say if somebody starts at 18 years of age with just 1,000 rupees a month, 1,000 into 12,000 rupees a year. Now, let's say if I invested that 12,000 rupees into an instrument that's given me 10% return, then with this 10% return, my money will become 12,000 plus 10% of 12,000, 1,200. So total of 13,200, right? The next year, this 13,200 plus another 12,000 that I put, it becomes a total of 25,200 plus a 10% return on that. So that becomes 27,720, right? And similarly, getting 10% every year on year, at the age of 30 years, if I start at 18, at the age of 30 years, I had invested a total of 12,000 into 13, which is 1,56,000. And I'm already been able to create a corpus of 3,23,000, which is 1,000 rupees a month over the period of 12 years, getting 10% interest. My money has almost doubled to 3,23,000. Further going down, let's say we continued investing for another 10 years. Our money, our total principal has gone up by just 1,20,000, 12,000 per year for 10 years. So it has gone up from 156 to 276. However, our compounded value or our wealth has gone up from 323 to 10,50,000 rupees. Going even further, another 10 years with that same 1,000 rupees, same everything, my principal goes up from 276 to 396, and my wealth goes up from 10,50,000 to almost 30 lakh rupees. And another 10 years, I deposit 1,20,000 more, 12,000 a year. My wealth grows from 30 lakh rupees to an astonishing 80 lakh rupees approximately. 80 lakh rupees. Can you believe that? Through 1,000 rupees a month, I can create a wealth of 80 lakh rupees over a period of time. And that, my friends, is the power of compounding. That, my friends, is the magic of compounding. And I know you must be coming across a number of things right now in mind that, this is not possible. This is not possible. Agreed. You will have taxation onto that. There will be years when you will not get 10% return. You might get less, you might get more. But the point that I'm trying to convey through these numbers is that how compounding works. This is achievable. All of these numbers are realistic. And over a period of time, go look at data of the last 40 years of as to how markets have performed or how the few of the instruments have given return. And you will see that 10% has been a modest number to achieve, given that we've done the things correctly, right? And so let me play around with some numbers here. Let me play around with some numbers and maybe make them look a little more realistic to you. All of you are like, no, Akshay, 18 years, not possible. We don't even have job. We are still in college. We're taking money from home. How do we start with, investing? Agreed, 100%. Even I wasn't able to. So let's say, you started at 25, 26. 25 is a good time, right? You have your first job. 25, 26, you are able to invest your money, right? Now, let's say for the first 2 years, you invested just 12,000, just 1,000 a month, 12,000 rupees. Then increments happened, your salary grew. So you are now able to start investing about 2,000 rupees a month, decent number. And for the next 2 years, all you did was 2,000. And then maybe 3,000 a month, right? Then maybe 3,000 a month. So the next few years, just about 3,000. And then, 30, 31, I'm assuming you are all in a good salary bracket. And in any case, we've got to invest that 1,50,000 rupees to save taxes, right? We are all giving some taxes to the government. We want to save as much as we can. So we've got to invest that 1,50,000. So let's say by the early 30s, we reach that taxable income and, we are investing that 1,50,000 rupees. And for the next 10 years, I will continue investing just that 1,50,000. Now I'm 40 years, I'm in a mid-management level. I have some extra money. I have taken care of a few of the responsibilities. So let's say, I can start with 25,000 a month, a year. And actually, if you look at this, 2,50,000 a year might still sound big, but if you break it down into month, it's about 20,000. So someone who's earning about 1,00,000 rupees, 20,000 investing isn't a big deal, right? So, let's say 25, 2,50,000 over the next few years. And then let's say, say 4,00,000 rupees. We are almost now, in the senior leadership level. And, we easily can take out 5 lakhs, which is about 4 lakhs, which is about 36,000 rupees a month, right? Look at that, friends. Look at that. By still starting with just 1,00,000 rupees and increasing it over time, the compounding results into a total accumulation of 4 crore rupees. Even if you've got to pay taxes onto that, you still have crores of rupees left for you. And that's the power of compounding, right? That's the power of compounding. Another thing that I wanted to show you here was a lot of times when people about to reach their retirement age. So I had an aunt who reached her 60 years and she was like, Akshat, I have made a good 1.5 crores of total wealth. I am thinking I'll, just take out all of those from the investments that I've done. I will buy a property, I'll buy a house, and, I will start getting about 35,000 rupees a month, which will act like my pension. And, I'll be happy. I'll be good with that. I can take care of my expenses through that. Little did she know that maybe at 60 years of age, I know she is retired and she cannot invest more, which means she cannot put in more principal. But even if she lets her amount grow, her amount would have grown up from 4 crore rupees to 6.5 crore rupees in just a span of 5 years. By not putting a single money extra. And that, my friends, is how compounding works. Look at this graph here. I'll just maybe reduce the size a bit. Look at this graph here. Yes, it takes time. It takes time for compounding to show its magic. And therefore, you see in the initial years, it's at a lower level. But then it gradually increases and it further increases to such an amazing level that is where we create all of our wealth. Go look at Warren Buffett, look at all the biggies of the financial world, and they'll tell you the same. Warren Buffett made most of his fortune after turning 80, 90 years of age. Not that all of us need to wait till 80, 90 years of age, but you get the point, right? It is very, very important to be patient with your money, to realize, to visualize how much can we create, and then go from there. Right? Make sense? A lot of you have questions, I know, but is this helping you? Are you guys having fun? Can I have a quick feedback? Is everything as per your expectation? Am I going fine? Is it too fast, too slow? Yes? Okay, perfect. You guys are not sending me thumbs ups, huh? So you know about the lunch thing. I will just get up and go and have my lunch if you guys don't give me thumbs ups. Kidding. Okay, perfect. Perfect, right? So I hope you get the point that I wanted to share. It's important for us to understand the theory before we go and understand how do we go about applying all of these in the real world. And therefore, compounding clubbed with patience gives us what we call is the magic of wealth creation, right? So save, invest, compound with a little bit of patience, and you will see the money working for you, right? Okay, now that we learned about compounding, that now that we've learned about the importance of investing, we want to quickly take actions on it. But wait on, there are some common mistakes that we've seen people doing, and we've list them out here so that none of us in this group at least fall prey to it and make these common mistakes, right? So the number one common mistake that we see people doing is making unrealistically strict budget. It's like, no, you know what? In Akshat's workshop today, I studied in the Pennywise workshop, ethical workshop, I studied that we've got to invest, we've got to compound our money. So I am not going to go out for lunch, for dinner, for any sort of movies. I will invest all of my money this month. All of my money goes into investment. Doesn't really work. Not assigning funds for entertainment, unexpected expenses. We're all working hard all day, all night, right? And we already have our Friday night plans now. We don't want to, kind of not enjoy the other aspects of life, right? We working so hard, and by the even if we start with this unrealistically strict budget, by the third or the fourth week we are like, should let it be. I want to go out, I want to party with my friends, so on and so forth, and then we eventually end up spending even more than what we would have otherwise done, right? So making unrealistically strict budgets, number one mistake. Don't do that. Spending first and investing whatever is left. It's like, let me first spend for all the important thing that I want to do in this month. And then whatever is left, I will pakka save. I'll pakka invest. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen at all. We are left with nothing by the end of the month, and we are not able to invest anything, right? Often chasing returns. It's like, no, stock market is really high right now. Not a good time to enter. Stock market is very low right now. Not a good time to enter. We often keep chasing returns, and then with this itself, we don't even start our investments. Yes, a very important point. Point 4, getting lured by Ponzi schemes, asking, the chit fund or any sort of unregulated schemes. Now, I know there are a number of such schemes that are working on since ages, since 40, 50, 60 years, in fact. And they have amazing registers to keep a track of these things. It's astonishing. It's surprising in a good way to see how well these schemes are managed. But folks, they are all unregulated. They're all unregulated. It could be just one order from SEBI or from RBI or from any sort of or any institution, and all of these could be banned. Or in fact, even let's say, even if it's not banned, or something happens to our money, who will you go to? Will the police help? Will the SEBI help? No, because these were in the first place not regulated schemes. So why take that risk? Why put your money into an unregulated scheme? Stay far away as much as possible, right? So in order to avoid all of these mistakes that we generally do, and to make sure we at the same time apply the concepts of the investing and the compounding that we've just studied about, let's go and look at some strategies, right? My reaction when someone asks me, where did all of your money go? I'm like, no, I don't know where did all my money go, right? How would I know where did all my money go? Right? Okay. So yes, there is this very common rule that comes across. There's this very common rule that I'm sure a lot of you would have gone through, the 50-30-20 rule. How many of you know about this rule? How many of you know about this rule? Or rather, how many of you have applied this rule? How many of you know about this rule and applied it as well? Following it right now. Very nice, Jason. Yeah. How many of you are applying it? I know, but can't be applied. Okay, Triveni? I know 80-20. Okay. Following now. Great. Great. Okay. Note for that, but did not apply, right? And I understand. I understand. Yes, a lot of social media influencers and a lot of other people out there definitely call this out the 50-30-20 rule and share it. But since we've practically experienced all of the content that we present to you, we know that achieving this is not possible. Yes, it looks beautiful, but it is not possible. And I'll tell you why. It is not possible to follow this because it says 50% invest in needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings. Now, most of the times I'm not even able to differentiate between my need and my want. And sometimes I feel buying an iPhone is a need. I need it. I need to create YouTube videos for my channel. I need to create Instagram reels, so on and so forth. So I need, an iPhone. But then at the same time, I think, my normal Android phone can also do that. Why do I really need an iPhone? It anyways, quality gets suppressed on Instagram. I think a normal phone does it, right? And this is just an example, but you get the point. And most of the times, we are not able to differentiate between a need and a want. And at the same time, we don't even want to continuously keep questioning ourselves. Is this my need? Is this my want? Think of it, you're in the mall and you're like looking at that cloth and you're like, is this my need? Is this my want? Should I buy it? No, you don't want to end up with that, right? You don't want to put yourself into that position. And so as much as this rule is widely talked about, I personally feel this is something which is not possible in the real world. It is not practical. And so what we did is we modified this rule a bit. We modified this rule a bit into something that could actually work. And listen to this carefully and take notes as possible. This is what we call the 30-20-50 rule. The 30-20-50. Now, what does the 30-20-50 rule say? The 30-20-50 rule says that, let's say if you're earning 50,000 rupees a month, then 30% of this amount, 15,000 rupees, should be parked straight away for your long-term assets, something that you're not going to touch for the next 30 years or at least 20 years. Straight away, you will take out 30% from your salary and put it for long-term investments. Straight away. You're not even thinking of those 30% amount. In fact, you're thinking that you just receive 35,000 rupees of salary, right? 50,000 ka, you take out 30% as is and think, you don't even have the 15,000 rupees that you put it into your investment account, right? The second is the 20%, the emergency fund. So the 20% amount is what you will use in order to create your emergency fund. So remember the emergency fund that we talked about, 6 months of our salary. We don't have to put all of our money from the salary together to create an emergency fund. Even emergency fund can be gradually created, right? So 20% of this amount, basically, we will use for any immediate or unexpected expenses, and and at the same time build an emergency fund using this. Sorry about that. Build an emergency fund using this, right? And finally, the 50%. The 50% amount, live like a king, live like a queen, spend all of this, do whatever you want to do, live your life and fulfill all your desires, and don't even think about saving a penny from that. 30% straight away invest for long-term assets, 20% keep for your savings, keep for your immediate expenses, keep for your emergency fund. The remaining 50%, live like whatever you want to do whatever you want to do with that money. Right? Makes sense? Yeah, all of these are qualified as long-term assets, right? Makes sense? Do you think this is something which is achievable? Yes. Where does EMI come under? Very good question. If it's a home loan EMI, home again results in a long-term asset. You can still think of it within your, the 30% that you are investing your money from. However, what I would suggest is, if you can still somehow manage that EMI from your 50% of expense, that would be the best thing to do. So what would happen is you are able to create a long-term asset paying your EMI, but at the same time, you are investing the additional 30% to create a long-term asset, right? So as much as it's something that you can maybe divide a bit, but I would still suggest, keeping your 30% at a side. Once again, and one important thing that I want to mention here is, although this 30-20-50 is what we are stating, it not necessarily be working for you in this proportion, right? So it could be for few of us, we have extra liabilities right now. We have some expenses that we need to take care of. So that's okay. Maybe start with a 20-10-70. Gradually bring up the 20 to 30, 30 to 40, so on and so forth, right? But you get the point. The point that I'm trying to mention here is you've got to make 3 buckets with your money. The first bucket with your long-term investments, the second bucket with your savings, and the third bucket of your expenses, right? These 3 buckets in the proportion that helps you 30-20-50 through our studies, we've seen is something that is achievable. Yes, maybe in the first initial few months, you'll find it really, really tough. But trust me, once you get into that habit, it will become achievable. Okay. Now, one thing that I wanted to, again, another thing that I wanted to mention is, I know all of you are going to go back and you're like, chodo, 30-20-50, 20-50-10, everything, keeps managing, keeps happening. I don't know if I will use it. Or maybe you'll use it for 2-3 months and then you will forget it again. Right? How many of you will do that? Difficult to apply, right? What if I tell you there is this strategy that if you apply, that if you put, that if you use that strategy, this entire 30-20-50 rule will get sorted for your life. It will be automated basically, and you won't even have to do any of this manually. That strategy, my friends, listen to this carefully. That strategy is nothing but what we call the 3 bank account strategy. The 3 bank account strategy. Now listen to this carefully. You must have 3 bank accounts in 3 different banks. Why 3 different banks? Just to help you psychologically. You must have 3 bank accounts in 3 different banks. Label the first one, let's say, for example, HDFC, SBI, ICICI. Label the HDFC one as on it. So whatever is your salary account, basically, whatever is your salary account becomes the earn it account. Label the second one as your invest it account, and label the third one as your spend it account. Have 3 accounts in 3 different banks so that you're psychologically sorted. HDFC wala is for spending, ICICI is for investing, SBI is for saving or for salary. Right? Now, what will you do is, you will set up an automated net banking feature, which is very simple to do. You can simply set a transfer feature. We all know our salary usually comes at the 30th or the 1st of the month. What you're going to do is, you're going to set up an automated net banking feature there. As soon as you get your salary, let's say you're getting 50,000 rupees of your salary, 30% of that money, 15,000 rupees, you will set up an auto pay transferring that money directly to your invested account. 30% of your money from your earn it account will go to your invested account. 50% of your money from your earn it account will go to your spend it account. The remaining 20% can let be in your earn it account itself. Did you get it? I'll repeat it. You get all of your salary into your salary account, which is called the earn it account. You set up an auto pay feature on your net banking. Can be done within a few minutes. Transfer 30% of your salary, the 30% invested account, into your invest it account, the one that you've labeled it as invested. 50% into your spend it account, the one that you've labeled as spend it, and the remaining 20% you let it. Now, what will happen? Every month, your money will come, your salary will come. Automatically, your salary will get divided into 3 buckets. One will go to your expenses, one will go to your investments, one will stay for your savings, for your emergency fund. whatever investments you do, whatever SIPs, stock purchases, any sort of investments that you do, you will route that money from your invested account. Basically, you will set up the SIPs with your invested account. And then whatever expenses you make, basically the credit cards or the debit cards, you need to have only of your spend it account. For the earn it and the invested account, maybe tie up your credit card, debit card, throw it in the Almira or throw it under the bed. Don't take that out for the next 20 years, right? Basically. And all you need, the credit card and the debit card, is for your spend it account. Yes. How powerful is that? How cool is that? How cool is that? Is this something you're able to achieve? Did you guys get that? So the 30-20-50 rule, club it with the 3 bank account strategy. All you need to do is sit for half an hour and you are sorted for life. You are sorted for life. And now whenever you have some salary increments, after a couple of months, you feel that, no, your spend it account still has some extra money left. You're not really spending so much. You transfer that back to your invested account. That's it. Right? How powerful that is. So the 3 bank account strategy clubbed with the 30-20-50 rule. If you do this, if you go back home today, sit for half an hour and do this, trust me, you will just not have to worry about it for your entire life. For your entire life. Same 3 bank account strategy. Can we also invest the emergency fund in a way that can be withdrawn? Yes, Abhimanyu. So your emergency fund, again, we can talk about it in the subsequent sessions that we'll have. But for an emergency fund, you can either create a fixed deposit or a recurring deposit in the same bank account, or you can also put some money into a liquid mutual fund. Search about a liquid mutual fund. I can also share information on that. But those are the places where you can build your emergency fund, right? Yes, it is actually a psychological solution. Glad to know some of you are doing that. Great, great. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so yes, how many of you are going to apply this? Tell me quickly. Thumbs ups. Round of thumbs ups. How many of you are going to apply this? Awesome. Awesome. Great. Already applying. Excellent. Excellent. Right? So I hope those of you who are not doing it, you get something to learn today. So do this so that you're sorted and everything is streamlined. Okay. Let's play a quick quiz. Let's see how much you've learned so far. I have been speaking for 1 hour. Now let's see how much you've been able to grasp. And then we will move on to the other important topics that we've planned for all of you. Okay. The first question in the quiz. What is not true about inflation? What is not true about inflation? Number 1, it reduces the purchasing power. Number 2, it is the general rise in the price of goods and services. Number 3, it reduces the real return on your investments. Or number 4, one can avoid inflation by investing in high yield products. Wait. Before you start answering the question, what is not true? Carefully, what is not true? What is not true? Good. Now I see some answers flowing in. Even now, mixed responses. Carefully, people. What is not true? A lot of mixed responses. Absolutely de-lock it. Excellent. Yes, so the D ko lock kar diya hai, and D is the right answer, folks. D is the right answer, and I'll tell you why this is the right answer. The question is, what is not true about inflation, right? A says it reduces the purchasing power. It is true, right? We saw in that example. If I'm not investing, that same bottle, that mouse is going from 10,000 to 32,000 rupees, right? We saw in that example. So if I don't invest my money, my purchasing power reduces, right? I now, whatever I'm able to buy with 10,000 rupees, in order to buy that same thing, I have to pay 32,000 rupees. So it indirectly reduces my purchasing power. So that is true. It is the general rise in the price of goods and services. That's the definition. That is true too. It reduces the real return on your investments. Say, for example, you got 10% interest on some of your investments, but that year the inflation was 5%. So your actual return becomes 5% only, right? Your actual return becomes 5% only. So yes, it does reduce the real return on your investments. And what is not true is one can avoid inflation by investing in high yield products. No, by investing in high yield products, you can try getting a little extra return, but you cannot avoid inflation. Remember, none of us, no one can avoid inflation, right? So those of you who answered A, B, or C, I hope you get the explanation. I hope you get the understanding. Next question. This is an easy one. I think everyone should get it. A monthly budget can help you achieve financial security by A, helping you choose stocks that are most likely to increase in price, B, reducing the likelihood that you would face unexpected expenditures, C, increase your financial awareness and help you allocate more funds, or D, expand your borrowing limits on your existing credit cards. Good, good, good. Well done. Most of you got it right. Well done. Oh, in fact, all of you got it right. I didn't think I saw any other answer apart from C. Well done. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. Pat your backs. Definitely not D. True. Yes, C was the right answer. Correct. Well done. Well done. Okay. Yeah. So far, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A section. I will definitely try and covering as many as I can by the end of the session. Whatever questions you have, right? Okay. Should we move on? Everyone ready for the next section? Let's move on. An overview of all the financial avenues that are available to us. So I will cover this in short and then go more deeper into, how do we go about diversifying and planning our goals. So on a very, very high level, we can say that we have these 4 asset classes where we can invest our money in, right? Equity, stocks, fixed income, fixed deposit, kind of places where kind of give us that guarantee us a fixed return. Real estate, we all know, shops, houses, etc., and commodities, gold, silver, so on and so forth, right? Fixed income products, on a high level, we all know fixed deposits, recurring deposits, PPF schemes, national savings certificate, corporate as well as government bonds, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, all of these where we are guaranteed a fixed income from day one, where we know that this is when we start investing, we will get a 5% or a 6% return. We know how much we're going to get in return, and therefore this is a fixed income product. LIC is not an investment avenue. I will come to that. We can talk about it later, right? We can talk about it later. You can put that in the Q&A section. We can talk about it later, right? So fixed income product, anything that guarantees you a fixed return on the day when you started putting your money into that. For example, if I'm creating an FD today, I know that after 1 year, I will get a guaranteed 5% return as per the bank promise. And so that becomes a fixed income return. All of these come into fixed incomes. On the other hand, equity products, usually your stock markets. Now, the stock markets, as we all know, they work in a way that they could be volatile in the closer future, which means a company is performing very well, but something would happen and the stock prices would fall. At the same time, if then once again everything, the environmental factors, the financial factors, the overall economic factors are playing well, that the company's price would grow up, right? So basically, a fluctuation of prices with companies happens, and so we cannot get a fixed or a guaranteed return. The return that we will get will be based on the market performance, will be based on the performance of that particular industry, that particular company, and so no fixed returns, but returns based on the on how the market performs, right? Usually, over a short term, it is very, very tough to kind of see which companies would perform well or not. But if we are able to research and find some good companies, then investing in them for a long period of time, and once again, when I say long period of time, that same 15, 20, 30 years could result in giving us a good amount of returns, right? So that's how the stock market works, as you all know. Mutual funds, on the other hand, are not really a particular investment avenue. They are basically a way of investing your money into stock markets or into, in fact, even fixed income as well as gold and other places, right? So I've kept here because majority of us use mutual funds to invest into stock markets, but I do want to mention mutual fund in itself is not an asset. It's basically a way for us to invest our money. What is mutual fund? As we can understand, or as we say, it mutually pools in the money from people, and then it lets you invest that money. Or there is a particular expert who takes in the money, mutually collects in the money from people, and puts it into various financial avenues as per their understanding. Right? We will go into depth into mutual funds as well, but in the subsequent sessions, we will let you know about that. But yeah, as of now, you can keep it at the back of your mind that mutual funds are something that help you invest into stock markets as well as other domains. If you are not an active investor, if you do not have the time to, kind of go on a daily basis into the stock markets and see how the stocks are performing, mutual funds is one of the best ways to start investing your money. Right? Then comes your commodities, the gold, the physical gold that we buy, or the digital gold that we buy. Now, one thing that I do want to mention here is, as Indians, we are very, very happy, and we really want to buy a lot of gold. And generally, when we think of investments, we think about going and buying, a jewelry or a gold bracelet or something of that sort. Now, one thing that you need to keep at the back of your mind is, as beautiful it looks, but if you're buying gold only from an investment point of view, it might not be the best decision to buy it in the physical form. Yes, if you're buying it from the ornamental point of view as well as from an investment, you definitely can go and buy the physical gold, because then the ladies would wear it, your family members would wear it, you would wear it, and you'd like it as well. But if it's just from an investment point of view, it might not be a very good option. Why? Because after you buy gold, you obviously pay an extra making charge to the jeweler. On top of that making charge, you obviously store that jewelry in a bank locker or somewhere where you got to pay a monthly rental for that locker as well. So all of these are additional charges that kind of get above the gold that you bought. And so eventually, when you sell it off, or when you really need money, if you calculate all of these extra expenses you made, then the returns are not really high, right? You basically don't make a lot of money. And so, as I said, if you're just investing you're buying it from an investment point of view, buying physical gold might not be the right decision, might not be the smartest decision. Rather, you could also look towards buying digital gold and other such, digital gold as well as gold mutual funds. What do that do? Digital gold helps you buy gold on a certain day's price in the digital form. So right now you're just paying 500 rupees, and the companies would allocate digitally some portion of gold on your name, whatever comes with that 500 rupees. And then let's say 10 years later, the value of that same 500 is 1,000 rupees. You simply just sell that 1,000 rupees of gold, and you can get that money minus the taxes, minus few of the expenses if they are. But in this case, what you're doing is you're not paying making charges, you're not paying any locker charges, so on and so forth, right? Yes, definitely you can't wear digital gold, but as I said, right, it's just from an investment point of view. And so if you're investing, if you're buying gold from an investment point of view, it is better to go with the digital form over the physical form. And then comes real estate. As we all know, another investment option for us to invest, whether it's in housing, whether it's in commercial properties, residential properties. Obviously, it comes with its own pros and cons. There are places where we know real estate has given extremely great returns, where then there are places as well where we know that real estate has not been able to perform very well. At the same time, when we buy residential properties or commercial properties, we must take into account the rental expenditure that we have, or the or rather the maintenance that comes along for maintaining that particular land or that property or that residential place, right? So capturing all of those expenses is also what you should take into consideration before you take a decision on whether you need to invest your money into real estate or not, right? So yeah, with this given time, I just wanted to cover this overall in a quick way. We can definitely go deeper and talk about each of these later on. But as of now, I hope you understand the options that are available for you to invest your money in: fixed income assets, equity assets, gold, commodities, or real estate, right? And now let's look into a comparison of each of these assets. So let's say if you had 1 lakh rupees in the year 1980, how would that money look into today? How would that money look today? You had 1 lakh rupees in 1980. So let's say you saved 1 lakh rupees in the year 1980, and this is data till 2020. So assuming that you had a 6% inflation, assuming that there was a 6% inflation over this period of year, the value of that 1 lakh rupees today would have become 10 lakh and 28,000. So which means if I was buying a mobile phone worth 1 lakh rupees, just a random example, then that same mobile phone would cost me 10 lakh and 28,000 rupees based on inflation. Okay. Now think of it. Now look at these numbers. If you would have bought gold in 1980 worth 1 lakh rupees, the value of that gold would have been about 25 lakh rupees. In fixed deposits, the value of that 1 lakh rupees would have been roughly about 22 lakh rupees. In PPF schemes, the value of that 1 lakh rupees would have been close to about 40 lakh rupees. Not bad. And the last, in Sensex, which is one of the indices of the stock markets, this 1 lakh rupees would have become 3 crore rupees. 3 crore rupees. Surprising numbers, astonishing numbers. Real estate, I'm sorry, we couldn't capture the data because, as you know, real estate, the prices vary from, city to city, place to place, so on and so forth. So that's why we don't have real estate. We don't feel that's the right thing to benchmark against. So we couldn't find the data for that. But yeah, apart from real estate, you see all of these investment avenues now that you know about which is the highest performing and the best performing assets, let me ask you, which is your favorite and where will you invest all of your money? Where will you invest all of your money? SIP, stocks, gold and Sensex, mutual funds, real estate, PPF and mutual funds, EPF, PPF, MF, everywhere, little. Crypto. Okay, I'm not going to talk much about crypto. Future and option. Land, Amazon. Very nice. Very interesting answers. Okay, so I hope you all understand that the point that I was leading this discussion to. We all know how these assets have performed in the past. But yes, had all my eggs in one basket, and if my basket had a hole in it, all of them would have broken, right? If I have a packet today, I go and buy eggs, and somehow I drop that packet, all of them gone. Rather, if I divide those eggs into 2 packets, I mean, even if I drop one of them, the other one is still with me, and I will be able to make the most of it, right? Right? And which brings me to a very, very, very important concept of diversification. Diversification. As much as attractive it sounds to invest our money, all of our money into Sensex, into stocks, into XYZ investment options, we also need to understand that there have been times. Okay, so although right now, looking at the hindsight over the last 40 years, this looks like 1 lakh has become 3 crore rupees. However, there were times when this also went down. So there could have been a time when 1 lakh became 10 lakh, but then fell to 5 lakh. And then 5 lakh became 20 lakh, but fell back to 15 lakh, right? So there had been ups and downs in the market. And let's say, what if you would have invested when, let's say the markets were at 20 lakhs and now your money became 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs. The point being that since those things are so volatile, we don't really know how would they perform in short term. And so it is important for us to diversify our money into each of these instruments so that we can use the best of all of these, right? So how do we go about diversifying? How do we decide how much to divide into each of these instruments? Let's understand that once again with the help of few examples. Or rather, let me say, let's understand the importance and how do we go about diversification with this theory that we've developed, which eventually we believe are the three essential pillars of financial planning. And listen to this very, very carefully. These three act as the pillars of financial planning. And if you get these right, you will be sorted in creating a financial plan, a rock solid financial plan for yourself, all by your own. All by your own. Okay? So let's understand this. The three essential pillars of financial planning are the goal, the risk appetite, and the time in hand. The goal, the risk appetite, and the time in hand. Let's understand each of these into detail as to what a goal is, what a risk appetite is, what is the time in hand. So they say that anything that we invest our money for, so, rather than saying that, I will start investing 2,000 rupees a month from now on, I will start investing 5,000 rupees a month from now on, instead of doing it that way, we must do the top-down approach, which is, I want to buy a Honda City car for myself, and I need to start investing in for it. So 5 years from now, I want to buy a Honda City car for myself. How much should I start investing my money? So we do the top-down approach, and that is nothing but a goal-based investing. We're supposed to have smart goals, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic time horizon. So all of your goals should follow this smart framework. I want to buy a Honda City car in the next 5 years. So yes, my goal is specific. It is measurable. I know how much the Honda City costs. It is actionable. I can go and buy it. It is realistic. Yes, something like Honda City exists. And it has a time horizon. I've given it 5 years. I've given myself 5 years to achieve that. And let me show you the power of doing this. Rather than playing with these numbers and saying, I will start investing 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees a month, and I will, I'll start with 5,000 or 10,000 rupees a month, and I will go and buy myself a car. Rather than doing that, let's actually look how much should I buy, how much do I need to save in order to buy a car, right? So let's say, and I'm assuming Honda City, I think, starts from 12 lakh rupees. So 12 lakh rupees is what I've put in here. 5%, 5 years is the time in hand I have. And for now, we've given this ROI assumption. Let's go by these numbers for now, and I will tell you, later on in the session as to how can you go about assuming the exact ROIs that you need to. Okay, so buying a Honda City car for time in hand 5 years, expected rate of return 5%. Since it's a less than 5 year goal, I've taken a 5% expected rate of return. And money required is 12 lakh rupees. Okay. So there you go, my friends. This tool has helped you identify that if you start investing 17,000 rupees a month from now on today itself for the next 5 years into an instrument that can give you 5% return, bang on, you'll be able to buy yourself a 12 lakh rupee Honda City in the next 5 years. How cool is that? You've actually been able to take an informed or a calculated decision. Using this goal calculator, you've been able to calculate how much do you need to start investing in order to fulfill your dream, fulfill your goal, right? On the other hand, lump sum means, let's say if you have a total of 9 lakh rupees, 9 lakh 40,000 rupees today, it has come from a bonus or from somewhere. and you invest all of this money for the next 5 years into an instrument that gives you 5% return, then you will be able to create a corpus of 12 lakh rupees to buy that Honda City car for yourself. Right? This is nothing but a total of how much you are paying. So over a period of 5 years, 17,000 into 60 results in paying about 10 lakh 58,000 rupees. And that 10 lakh 58,000 rupees has resulted in a 12 lakh rupee amount to buy your Honda City. Right? But you get the point? The power of thinking about goals. Yes, does that make sense? Can I have a quick round of thumbs up? Good question, Jeet. We'll come to that. So what you could also do there is go to this inflation calculator that I have shared before, right? Go to this inflation calculator and see. Let's say this 12 lakh rupee car, this 12 lakh rupee car over a period of, right now the calculator has 20. So, I will go here and from 20, I will make it 5. So assuming that the car prices also increase by 6%, 12 lakh rupees becomes 16 lakh rupees, right? So now instead of using a 12 lakh rupee goal, you should rather use a 16 lakh rupee goal. Okay. So does that answer your question, Jitin? Now go to the goal calculator. From 12 lakh rupees, you could go to 16 lakh rupees or 16 lakh rupees, 50,000 rupees. And there you go. Yes, it's a little extra. From 17,000, it jumps up to 24,000, but you get the point. If you put in 24,000 rupees, you will be able to achieve your target. You will be able to fulfill your dream of buying a Honda City car. Right? Okay, let's move on. So that's what I wanted to show you with the help of a goal calculator. Let's understand risk appetite, and let's do a quick example here. Let's do a quick game here. So say you, okay, all of you had that 1 lakh rupees that we shared in the beginning, your 1 lakh rupees of bonus amount. Now think of it this way. You invested that 1 lakh rupee into certain instrument. Okay. Now 2 months later, what happened? That 1 lakh rupee fell down to 80,000 rupees. The value of that investment of 1 lakh rupee fell down to 80,000. Now tell me, you don't have more money to invest. Okay, so you can't invest more money. Tell me, how many of you will withdraw that 80,000 rupees? Okay, I invested 1 lakh, now it's become 80,000. Let me withdraw that 80,000 rupees. This will also go. And how many of you, on the other hand, will continue staying invested? Those of you who will continue staying invested, put stay invested in the chat. Others say withdraw. Withdraw or continue. Okay, that is better. Withdraw or continue. Okay. Most of you are saying continue. Most of you say continue. Perfect. Okay. Now, on the other hand, let's say that 1 lakh became 80,000, and then after a couple of another months, a few more months, that 80,000 further fell down to 50,000 rupees. Now what will you do? Will you withdraw or will you stay invested? Stay invested, withdraw, partial answers, right? Now, third scenario, let's say that 50,000 rupees further goes down to 20,000 rupees. Now what will you do? Will you withdraw? 20,000 to kam se kam I will take out, or will you continue staying invested? Sunpreet Singh says, scold the financial planner. Yes, very true. Continue, forget about it. True. Very true. Right? So, okay, now come back to listening to me. The point that I was trying to convey here is there is no right or wrong answer to this. A risk appetite is something which is individualistic to us. Just like we are an extrovert, someone is an extrovert, someone is an introvert, someone likes to go out, somebody likes to stay home, someone likes to have food, somebody is not so foodie. Just like we have different kind of characteristics, risk appetite is also a characteristic, right? So if somebody is wanting to stay invested at even 20,000, there is no right or wrong. If somebody is wanting to withdraw money at 80,000, if that gives them the psychological balance, that is better to do, right? So the point that I was trying to convey here is risk appetite is something, it is the ability to take risk. How much risk can I take with my money, right? There are some baselines against it that I will just cover in a minute. And finally, the time in hand. Just like that goal Honda City example that I shared, I have given myself 5 years to buy that Honda City car. So I will similarly talk about, that is basically the time in hand that I have in order to achieve that. Okay. Now let's look at all of these together. Let's look at all of these together. Let's understand them once again with the help of few examples. So the goal, the risk appetite, the time in hand, you all understand them individually, what they are. Now let's assume that right now, let's say I have a daughter and I want to accumulate money for my daughter's higher education. Okay, so let's say my daughter has just been born and I want to send her abroad for her masters, which is about 20-25 years from now. 20 years, she's just born. So let's say by 17-18, she finishes her schooling and then another 3-4 years of graduation that I want her to do from India. And then for her post-graduation, I want to send her abroad. Okay, she's right now 1 year old, taking an example, 1 year old. So I have about 20 years in hand in order to achieve my goal. My goal is my daughter's education, which will take me about 1 crore rupees. So I need 1 crore rupees 20 years from now, right? That becomes my goal. So I have a long-term goal. Time in hand is long. It is 20 years in hand. I have a long-term goal. And so the thumb rule says that when we have a long-term goal, our risk appetite increases. Our risk appetite is higher. Why so? It is because since I have a 20-year-old period, even if my money falls down over the next couple of years, even if the stock markets do not perform well or crash down, I still have enough time for them to recover and come back up because of this long term that I have in my mind, that I have in my hand. Since it's a long term goal, it's above 15 years. So anything above 15 years or in fact above 10 years can be treated as a long term goal. So this long term goal that I have with my daughter's education of about 1 crore rupees, because of the 20 years of time in hand that I have, my risk appetite is fairly high. It's on the higher side because I can afford to lose money in between. And yes, then it can come back up. On the other hand, let's say my daughter is now in class 12. Let's say my daughter is now in class 12. So now she has about 4 years to finish her graduation. So which means that I have just 4 years left in hand in order to achieve my goal. And yes, I had a goal of 1 crore rupees and I have somewhere reached out about 80-85 lakh rupees. And so as much as I want this 80-85 lakh rupees to become 1 crore, I cannot afford losing a single penny from this already accumulated amount, right? I cannot afford my 80 lakhs to go down to 78 lakhs. However, I just want it to become as close to 1 crore, right? And so since the time in hand is less, I just have 4 years to make this 80 lakhs into 1 crore. I cannot afford to lose any money here. And generally the stock markets do not, we cannot be sure if they will perform well in the short term. They are volatile. And so in this case, the thumb rule says that I have a lower risk capacity. So the risk appetite and the time in hand, they go hand in hand in such a way that the longer the goal that I have, higher is my risk appetite. Shorter the goal that I have, lower is my risk appetite. Okay, repeat after me or write it down in your notebooks. Longer the goal I have, higher is my risk appetite. Shorter the goal I have, lower is my risk appetite. Yes, does this help? And this, my friends, if you get this, this is what is the essence of financial planning. That's how you go about planning all your finances for all your goals. Okay? Now, write down another line below this. How do we go about diversifying our money using this concept? Longer the goal, higher is the risk appetite, more can we invest in equity instruments. Why? Equity instruments are volatile in the short term, so it is risky to invest. But in the long term, we've seen over the past they've performed well, and the assumption is they will perform well. India is going to grow, become an economic power, the companies will work well, and so the stock market in the long term will perform well. And so the thumb rule becomes longer the goal, higher the risk appetite, more can we invest towards equity instruments. On the other hand, shorter the goal, lower is the risk appetite, more towards fixed income instruments. Right? So that's the thumb rule for diversification. I will repeat this again so you guys can take a note in your notebooks. Longer the goal, higher the risk appetite, more can you invest in your equity instruments. Shorter the goal, lower is the risk appetite, more can you invest towards fixed income instruments. Okay? Now let's further go in and study few of the strategies and few of the rules that we can apply keeping these principles in mind, which are nothing but asset allocation strategies. So the first asset allocation strategy is a very, very basic, very simple 100-age rule. This comes with an assumption that you are a beginner, you don't know much to, how do you go about investments. And so let's say you are a beginner, you are 35 years of age. The thumb rule is, the 100-age rule is 100 minus your current age, 35 years of age. So 100 minus 35, 65. 65% of your money can go towards equity instruments. 35% of your money can go towards fixed income instruments. As simple as that. As simple as that. If you are, and this, keeping the underlying assumption is you are investing for a long-term goal, right? So you are maybe investing, let's say you are 35 years of age, you are investing for your retirement. You will retire at 60 or 65 years of age, so you are investing for your retirement. So 30, so your 100 days rule becomes 100 minus 35, 65%. 65% of your money will go towards your equity instruments. 35% of your money will go towards your fixed income instruments. As simple as that. Right? Got it? Everyone got it? Yugesh, I'm sorry to say this, but there is nothing called as a casual investment. There is nothing called as a casual investment. All your investments should be goal-based investments. All your investments should be goal-based investments. Okay? Yes, does this make sense? Everyone got the 100-age rule? Come on. Is everyone sleeping? Give me a quick round of thumbs ups. Come on, where is the Janta? Kindly repeat again. Okay. 100-age rule says, whatever is your current age, 100 minus your current age, whatever is left, so 100 minus 35 in this example, 65% of your money should go towards equity investment. So let's say today I have 10,000 rupees. Out of that 10,000 rupees, 65% of money I will put towards equity instruments, towards stocks, mutual funds that invest into equity instruments. 35% of my money I will invest towards fixed income instruments. Okay, that's how we get started for any of our long-term goals that we want to invest for. Further, anyone who's a kind of a beginner, a little beginner to intermediate, is something called the strategic asset allocation or rebalancing your portfolio. And a lot of time you come back with questions like, okay, I'm making some good profit. Should I book my profit? What should I do about it? We will answer all of those questions here, right? Okay, and also for the 100 age rule, we've created a calculator. So, in case you want to check. So let's say if you are 32, I mean, it's a very simple calculation, but we've still put it for your ease. Let's say you are 32 years of age and you have about 1,50,000 rupees with you today, right? So how will you go about it? Using the 100 age rule, 65% of 1,50,000. So about 1,02,000 rupees is what you're going to put into equity instruments, and the remaining 48,000 rupees into fixed income instruments. Okay. Okay. You can use this calculator. Now, coming to asset allocation strategy. Now, let's understand this further in a little more depth. Okay. Little more depth. These are the 5 kind of risk appetites one can have. All of us will be classified, or all of our goals will be classified into having one or the other of this risk appetite. Okay. How will we identify that? With the time in hand. So any goal that we have about 15 plus years to invest, 15 plus years I have, will be termed as a long-term goal. From 10 to 15, medium to long, 7 to 10, medium term, 3 to 7, short to medium term, and 0 to 3 years, short term. Okay. Now, against that, the risk appetite that I have for any sort of a long-term goal, I can have an aggressive risk appetite. For a medium to long, I can have a moderately aggressive risk appetite. For a medium term, I can have a moderate appetite. For a short to medium, I can have a moderately conservative risk appetite. And a short-term goal, I am allowed to have a conservative risk appetite. What does these risk appetite teach us further? These risk appetite, based on this risk appetite, I choose how much should I invest in equity versus fixed. So now, let's say I have that Honda City goal, right? I want to buy a Honda City car in 5 years. 5 years come in the short to medium time, right? In the short to medium time, which makes me a moderately conservative investor. My risk appetite is moderately conservative. So I can invest from that monthly amount that I was getting. I can invest about 35% of my amount into equity and about 65% of my amount into fixed income, right? And that way I will be able to reach my goals faster. So let's assume that same example that we were taking of, or rather, let's assume that daughter's education example. Okay, and let's say I had 10 plus years in hand. So how much should I divide? I should divide 75% into equity and 25% into fixed income. Okay. Now let's say I did the same, and I had about, on the 5th of July 2021, I had 1 lakh rupees in my hand. And, I thought, let me start investing for my daughter's education, about 10 plus years in hand. I have a moderately aggressive risk appetite. So out of the total 1 lakh rupees, 75,000, or the 75% amount, I will invest into equity, and 25% I will invest into fixed income. Right? 75 into equity, 25% into fixed income. Now, 1 year later, on the 5th of July 2022, I got lucky. And what happened? My total investment went from 1 lakh to 1,46,000 rupees. And I was like, wow, I made 50,000 rupees of profit. My 1 lakh moved to 1,46,000 rupees. So, and then further, I saw that my 75,000 rupees of equity went to 1,20,000 rupees. 1,20,000 rupees. And I'm very happy. Wow, I made so much of profit. Wow. On the other hand, fixed income gave what it does. It gave me the fixed return. My 25,000 became 26,000. Now, although I am very, very happy, but here I see that although based on the risk appetite that I'm allowed, I have a moderately aggressive risk appetite, and I am allowed a 75-25 split. However, although I have made some profits, but still, although I've made my profits, but now my equity proportion has moved away from 75-25 into 82 and 18. It has gone from 75-25 into 82 and 18, which means I am more towards in the riskier category, right? And so what I will do in this way, and you can call this profit booking, you can call this rebalancing our portfolio, but so that we remain on track to achieve our financial goals, what I will do is, in order to, I will try to bring this back to the 75-25 ratio. And to do that, what should I do? I will calculate the 75-25 of 1,46,000. So of that, if I do that from 1,46,000, 1,09,000 is my 75%, and 36,000 is my 25%. So what will I do? I will take out that extra money, that 10,000 rupees extra from my equity investment, and move it towards my fixed income investment, right? If I remove that 10,500, I profit book it, or I sell that amount of mutual funds, sell that amount of stocks, I have made some profit. I'm moving that towards my equity instrument. At the same time, I am also in keeping the remaining invested. So which means although my portfolio has gone up, but I have rebalanced the risk and I have made it once again a 75-25% ratio. Yes? Does that make sense? Does that help? So that is the strategic asset allocation, something that will keep us on track. Now, yes, we've just taken a 1-year example here, but you don't have to do this necessarily every year. For long-term goals, you could do this once in 2 years, once in 3 years. For short-term goals, maybe you could do this once in 6 months, so on and so forth, right? But you get the point. It is important for us to make sure that we are continuously following our risk appetites and we are in the ratio that is allowed to us, right? The equity and the fixed income split that is allowed to us. Yes, makes sense? What if I get a loss in 1 year? Then should I rebalance by taking the amount? Good question, Dipanshu. In that case, I would say if it's a long-term goal, right? If it's a 20-year goal, don't do that. Stay on it, right? Since it's a long-term goal, you have enough time for it to come back. If it's a short-term goal, then yes, then definitely you should try and rebalance it, right? So it will all depend on your main is the time in hand. For all your long-term goals, you can take risk. For all your short-term goals, the risk should be as low as possible, right? And when it's as low as possible, it should move more towards your fixed income instruments. Yes, makes sense? Everyone get that? If withdraw amount from equity, then power of compounding will be less. I mean, obviously, Ankit, the money will compound on your base amount, right? So if you can take risk, yes, good enough. Continue investing, right? But does that make sense? All of you, come on, give me a quick round of thumbs up, because if this made sense, what I'm going to show you next is going to be super, super, super helpful, super beneficial for all of you. Trust me, a lot of our efforts and hard work has gone into creating something that I'm just about to show you. And if you utilize it to the best possible extent, you can make a lot from it. Right? Okay. So what I'm about to show you is something that we call a comprehensive financial goal planning worksheet, a financial goal planning exercise. And I will show that to you. What it helps and how it helps is, this is how it looks. I know it's become too small. Okay, let me do it at 125. This is how it looks. What this financial goal planning exercise does is, it will help you put down all of your goals in one place, put the goal amount that you need in order to achieve that. How much should your allocation percentage be with equity and fixed income based on all the learnings that we've had? And it will finally give you the number or the SIP that you require every month in order to achieve all of these goals. All that we've studied so far in the session today, all of that can be executed by putting our learnings into this simple worksheet that can actually bring you on track to achieve or fulfill all of your financial goals, right? Let me do some things and let me put some numbers here that will help you visualize it even more, right? So let's say we want to buy a house. Sabka man hota hai, ek ghar kharide. Let's say we want to buy a house. Let's give it a 20-year period. Since it's a 20-year period, what should be my goal? It becomes a long-term goal, right? It becomes a long-term goal. Since it's a 20-year period, it follows my 15 plus time horizon, right? It follows my 15 plus time horizon. And so this becomes aggressive. Right? Now, since it's aggressive, let's say, sorry. This becomes aggressive, right? This was moderately aggressive. This becomes aggressive. And now I want a home which value of which, and I assumed inflation, today it's 1 crore. So maybe at 20 years from now, it's going to be 2 crores. Abhi just randomly number le raha hu. I'm just taking a number randomly. Sorry for the Hindi. Right. So my 2 crore rupees of amount, what will I do? Now I know I am allowed 100% aggressiveness. I am allowed 100% aggressiveness. Right. Okay, folks, concentrate here first. I will share the Excel in certain conditions. So in order to fulfill those conditions, you've got to concentrate here. Okay. So first concentrate, then ask for the Excel. So 2 crores is my goal. Now I am allowed an aggressive 100%. And so what I can do is I can put all 100% in equity. On the other hand, what I can also do is maybe put a 20% equity or maybe a 10% fixed income just to be on the safer side, and about 90% equity. And there you go. This calculator gives me the amount I need, the SIP that I need every month in order to achieve the financial goal. Similarly, let me put a short any goals that you want me to put in. Maybe a vacation, a short-term vacation that I want to take 5 years from now. Since it's a 5-year vacation, since it's a 5-year thing, it will come into the moderately conservative category, right? So I will put a short-term, moderately conservative. Let's say I want 4 lakh rupees. Okay, now how do we assume the rate of, okay, sorry, I've not assumed any rate. My bad, I made one very, very important or very, very stupid mistake, very, very careless mistake. Sorry, folks, come back. My apologies, I made one mistake. When I did this fixed income 10%, equity 90%, what I missed doing was I missed putting the expected return, right? So how much should be my return? How much should be my assumed rate of return? So since it's a 20-year period, and once again, we've given that table also to you here. Since it's a 20-year period, we can assume that equities over a 10 plus period can give us a 12% return, and a fixed income or gold can give us an 8% return. Okay, so that's what I will do here. From my equities, I'll put a 12% return, and my gold, my fixed income, I'll put a 8%. And there you go. Yeah, now these numbers look realistic. I was also wondering in my mind, why is these numbers showing so high? Am I doing something wrong? Thank God I realized. Anyways, now these numbers look realistic. So with 18,000 rupees in equities and 3,000 rupees in fixed income, I will be able to achieve my goal of buying a house in 20 years worth 2 crore rupees. Similarly, vacation, short-term, 5-year goal, 4 lakh, fixed income, since it's a moderately conservative risk appetite, 65% in fixed income, 35% in equity. What would happen? Fixed income in a span of 5 years, right? So let me go to the 5-year table here. Equity 8%, fixed income 5%. Okay, so equity 8% and fixed income 5%. And there you go. If I start investing about 2,000 rupees into equity and about 4,000 rupees into fixed income, I will be able to accumulate 4 lakh rupees and be able to go on a vacation. And similarly, I will continue, keep adding, you can add as many goals as you want, do all of these calculations, and this will give you the amount of SIPs you require a month, and bang on, you'll be there to achieve all of these goals. Yes. How powerful is that? Do you guys think this is useful? Oh, yes. Thank you, Madhukar. Thank you. Absolutely, Chakradhar, absolutely. Very true. So for those such kind of realistic numbers, you will have to do that calculation and put in. But what I'm trying to do here is give you some frame of reference in order to start working towards your goals, right? I completely agree. I completely agree. Maybe these are not going to be super 100% on track, but they will at least bring you closer to your goals, right? Maybe house might be not the right thing to take as a goal here, but vacation, wedding. Let's say I have a wedding. I want to prepare for my daughter's wedding. Okay, let's say it's a 15-year goal. Okay, I have a moderately aggressive risk appetite. Right, I want to have 50 lakh rupees for my daughter's wedding. Okay, I missed 10. 50 lakh rupees for my daughter's wedding. Fixed income, how much? Since it's okay. And I also have the possibility of investing in gold, right? Now, remember, I missed mentioning this thing. Gold can have about a 5 to 10% allocation from your total investment. I'd say don't go towards gold for more than 10%. Out of your total portfolio, 10% exposure to gold is good enough, right? So if I go here, how much do I need to put in gold? I put 10% since it's my daughter's wedding, so I can actually put it in gold, in digital gold, and maybe later convert it into the physical form. I will put about 70% into equity and the remaining 20% into fixed income, right? And there you go. There you go. 5,000 in fixed income, 3,000 in gold, 20,000 in equity, and I will be able to achieve this 50 lakh rupees of corpus for my daughter's wedding, right? Right? Yeah, I mean, see, all of this is to give you some frame of reference, some numbers. You could add a lot more to it. We generally do have advanced version of these Excel calculators as well, which we will try to get you in the subsequent sessions. But for now, okay, now for those of you who were wanting these Excel trackers, I need you to do one thing. The one thing that you need to do is you need to promise me that you will go and fill in these numbers in the trackers. You will use these trackers to the best of your knowledge, right? So if you promise, and yes, we are there to give you feedback as well. So if you would like, you can fill in these trackers. You could mail it to me and Gautam in the email ID provided below, and we would try and share whatever feedback we can, right? I'm not sure if we will be able to give the feedback to all of you, but we will try and share the feedback to as many as possible, right? And yes, in the subsequent sessions, we can definitely come back to this and give you some feedback on this, right? Cool. Was this helpful? Did this help? Pakka promise? Bhagwan mera bana gaya. Thank you, Ankit. Sure. And I know we are at the top of the hour, so just a few little things, and then we can wrap up. We can take your questions. I do want to end this session with a very, very powerful quote by Albert Einstein, who says, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." Wait for a second. I want you to realize what he is trying to tell you. He's trying to tell you that it is the eighth wonder of the world, and we've all seen now how this eighth wonder of the world works. However, what he's also telling you is he who understands it earns it, right? So if you understand it today, if you realize the importance of it today, you will earn it. But if you don't, it's not that you just it's not that you are just not able to enjoy the possibility of earning it, but you will eventually end up paying it. Why? Because in any case, all of these goals that we were talking about, these are common goals. We all will have these goals. And if we plan from today itself, we will be able to achieve those goals. However, if that doesn't happen, we will end up taking a loan from the bank. And eventually, when we pay the EMIs back to the bank, that is in the form of a compounded interest, and we will pay the bank in the form of compounding. We will help the bank grow rich and not ourselves, right? So that is the power of this quote. He who understands it earns it, but he who doesn't pays it, right? And yes, that's why I want all of you to put all the learnings you had in this from this session into execution, so that you are able to enjoy the fruits of compounding as well as all the others. Right? Okay, quick question, quick case study, and then we'll do a small activity, and then up open for all questions. Quick activity. You had planned in 2017 for your daughter's destination wedding in 2031. However, investments were delayed by 4 years and will now start from 2021. So to achieve the target corpus of 1.25 crores, what should you do? Should you increase the investment amount? Should you invest in a high yield instrument or asset? Should you do both of them or either of them, or should you invest as per plan? Okay. A, C, D, mixed responses. Mixed responses. Yes. A and B. Okay. 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 I'll maybe give you another minute here to make sure you are putting the right answer here. Think. Okay. Absolutely. So the right answer here is either of A and B, which means that yes, you should increase the investment amount. You should increase your per month SIP so that you reach the goal, because you're already delayed by 4 years. At the same time, you can also try and investing in a higher yielding instrument, because that will also help. So either of A or B. Yes, B will be high risk. Correctly said. B will be high risk. However, if you could do either of them, that would be great, right? Okay, perfect. So I hope I did justice to the 2 hours that we took from you and was able to help you add value to your finances. Well, there is a small little thing that I've done. I have just posted about this overall experience of how this workshop went and how everything went by on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and so is the Pennywise page. We love sharing a lot of similar things on LinkedIn, and it would mean the world to me if you could just take out 2 minutes of your time right now and share your experience about this workshop on LinkedIn, right? If you could just give me your key takeaway from this workshop. What was your aha moment, or what was your key takeaway from this workshop? And put it there in the comment section. It would really, really, really mean the world to us. It would mean a lot to us, right? So I will. Please have your lunch. Yeah, Shiva is going to treat me with some lunch. He promised me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to order one good bento box for you now.
Okay, so folks, take 2 minutes right now. I'll give you 2 minutes, and then there's another thing that we wanted to share. We have created some community groups for you guys in order so that you can stay in touch with us. Where did Google timer go? Hey, what happened to this? Okay, anyways, you get 2 minutes of time right now.
And also, Akshat, I would like to take this opportunity to also launch the poll for the feedback of the session.
Sure.
Okay, so request everyone on the session to take a few minutes and fill in the feedback poll that is on your screens right now. Like I always say, this will help us get more, curate more sessions like this and get amazing trainers and speakers like Akshat himself to come and, tell us about a lot of different things happening around the world. So please do take a minute and fill in the feedback poll. Thank you.
Yep. Coming to the questions, just give me 1 second. Coming to the questions, before everyone drops, there's another thing that I wanted to share. That's the communities that we've created. So what we've done is, folks, we've created. So as they say, as they say, or maybe let's finish the feedback first, and then I should go forward, Shiva.
No, Akshat, feedback will run in the background. You
Okay.
can go forward. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So yes, folks, as they say, tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. So tell me and I forget, which usually happens. All our friends and relatives tell us something or the other and we forget it. Teach me and I may remember. So I have taught you today. You may or may not remember. Involve me and I learn. And so what we've done is we've created these communities over Facebook, Quora, and WhatsApp being the most active, obviously, wherein all of us can be connected together. Any questions, any things that you want to know, want to learn, you could throw in that community. People who've attended workshops in various formats are all available there. So we keep on helping each other with any sort of real world challenges, real time experiences, so on and so forth. Right. So I will just post the link to the community group as well. This will redirect you to one of the WhatsApp groups. So there you go. You should be able to join that WhatsApp groups. Feel free. This is a lifetime free access. You will never be asked to pay anything for this community. Obviously, we just keep sharing all that we do under the Pennywise platform on this community, as well as a lot of information that could help take personal finances onto the next level, right? And as I was saying, this is what we do at Pennywise. Our mission is to financially educate the people of India, as I think it goes in coordination with what Ethica is doing. Ethica is working towards ensuring all of us. And so what we were trying to do is financially ensuring all of you through our educative seminars, through our workshops. So just like this, just like a 2-hour session that we've done here today, yes, there's lots of contents, and I think we're working with Shiva to bring in more topics, more such things to you in the near future. So keep watching out for that, as well as be a part and help us join this mission of ours to kind of take it forward and help India become financially literate. Right? Yes, do follow us. I mean, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You could also follow the Pennywise page on LinkedIn. We are also active on other social media platforms. LinkedIn, the most active, where we share a lot of tips, tricks, and other sort of new things that we figure out in the market. We keep sharing all of those things there. So, yep, please do follow us. Right? Yep, I think feedback is.
And Akshat, one announcement from my side. So all the participants who are there today will get a link, the community link, and also link to download the Excel sheet shortly after the session. So please, everyone will get an email from Zoom, which will have links to all these resources. So please do not worry, and just wait for the email to come into your inbox.
Absolutely. Yep, I think that's it. I've covered most of the things. Yeah, once again, I definitely want to mention, please do take 2 minutes of your time out and put a comment on LinkedIn on your key takeaway. Trust me, that is one thing that all of us post this session look forward to, and not just me, the entire team at Pennywise, Shiva and the entire team. That really boosts us, that really motivates us to keep doing what we're doing. So yes, please take out 2 minutes of your time and share your comments there. With that, thank you so much. I will move on to the Q&A. Gautam, anything? I think Gautam has answered quite a lot of the questions. Any common ones? NSP. Sorry. Yes, sure.
Akshat, we can also take some live questions if you're okay.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah. So we have a couple of hands raised. So I'll just move them to the panel. Okay. And yeah. Debashish, if you can hear us, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. We have Sandeep also. Sandeep, you are next.
Well, first of all, I want to ask, nowadays we see lot of YouTubers promote you that all those financial apps of that every Binomo, Opta, Gold, everything. So how for a beginner to start invest? Where should I start investing?
Devashish, can you? I'm not able to hear you properly.
Am I audible now, Akshay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So nowadays, what is happening in you, all those YouTubers, they're promoting all those random financial applications, maybe crypto, Binomo, Ethernet, what are there in market. So being a beginner, how should I start in a procedure way to invest so that I won't lose any of my money?
Great question. Great question, Devashish. So here's what I do, right? And I'll share what I do. I know what you're talking about with a number of influencers sharing a lot of things. I have this personal concept of throwable money. Okay. So today, let's say if I earn 100 rupees a month, if I lose 2 rupees out of it, it might not hurt me that much, right? So this concept of throwable money is what I use for all such investments. So let's say if you're earning, for example, 1 lakh rupees a month, and you have 2,000 rupees of money, which you feel that even if it gets lost, I will not mind it. That money you can use to invest in such assets. Go with the assumption that you've lost it, right? Now, if it comes back with a lot of money, great, you've done well. If not, you in any ways had invested it with the thought of losing it, right? So that's what I do. That's my personal mantra. I do not follow any of these influencers that share such particular particular coins or particular cryptos or particular investment avenues. I do my own research, spend time, don't go by anyone's recommendation, because as you know, right, nothing comes in this world for free, right? So even if they are
Yeah.
recommending something, they are paid to do that, and obviously they need to run their businesses, so they need that money. But yeah, my 2 cents would be, think of, calculate your throwable money, think of it that way, and then use that money to invest in such assets.
Yeah. So one more, I have two more questions, if I'm allowed to ask.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead, Mr. Devashish. Go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
My second question is that nowadays, if you see, market is forcing us to spend more money. For example, the thing is that in my current current the current our this in day-to-day market, if you see nowadays, it's 300 ml of thumbs up, which is 20 rupees. Okay, was coming, people were getting satisfied by spending 20 rupees. What? But now, if you see, suddenly those small bottles have disappeared, and the shopkeepers are putting, you please, we don't have the small bottles, then go for 750 ml or 1 liter, which cost us around 20 rupees or 90 rupees. What I am thinking that, what my opinion is that, since we are spending 20 rupees and we are getting satisfied, so the company is thinking it is creating a lot. So knowingly they are cutting all those less price product, and they want that same product to be raised high, so that people will force to go for that. In place of 200 ml, we will force to go to purchase same 50 ml or 1 liter, and you have to pay 90 or 70 rupees, but you are paying 20 rupees and getting satisfied. So how to avoid those things?
Yeah, great question again, Devashish. But this is something which is not again in our hands, right? I mean, we can't stop companies from coming up with innovative products or products where they want to get more money from the customers. I mean, my take would be, think what is important to you, right? If you feel you do not need to buy, for example, a bottle of Coke, don't buy it, right? Or maybe restrict yourself from buying it once a month, once in a week, so on and so forth, right? So this is where you need to prioritize your expenses. Whatever you feel is urgent and important to you, right? I think so. There's another framework that we cover, and maybe we'll try covering it later on in our sessions, which is urgent versus expensive, so urgent versus important. So two questions that you can ask yourself: is this urgent to me? Is this important to me? If you have a yes for both the answers, you go and basically buy that. If no, then just be away from buying those things.
Yeah. And my second question is that whenever I go out for any purpose to market, whether shall I buy vegetables or anything, I have a habit that if I go means unknowingly I just spend on cold drinks or any other beverages or any of chocolates or any kind of all junks on everything, any kind of utensil. So how can I avoid those unnecessary spending? That habit of unnecessary spending, how can I avoid that?
That same thing that I said, right? So ask yourself two questions: is this urgent? Is this important? If it is urgent, if you feel nahi nahi mere ko bottle of coke chahiye hi chahiye, I can't live without it, so buy it. Right? I mean, that's the two questions for basically streamlining all your expenses. Is it urgent? Is it important? If the answer to both of them is yes, buy it. Otherwise, don't.
Okay.
We have Karan who wants to ask you a question, Akshat. Moving on to the next one. Karan, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yep. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Okay. So hey, Akshat. Akshat, I'm mostly of a passive investor mindset. So all the investment that I do right now, I prefer to kind of invest money and then forget it. But then with this approach, I actually have two questions which are both interlinked to each other. First is for the mutual funds, where is there a strategy to finalize how many mutual funds you should have in your portfolio? So let's say if I have an X money to invest, then should I invest it into as many as mutual funds as possible, or should there be a capping on the number of mutual funds we should have in a portfolio? And if so, is there any strategy you recommend for that?
Absolutely. Great question, Karan, once again. So go with the same goal-based exercise that we shared, right? So I'd say for every goal, at max have one sort of a mutual fund, right? So it is recommended that you must not have more than 5 to 6 types of mutual fund in your portfolio. So let's say for, maybe if you have 3 long-term goals, club them together and put the amount of that SIP into one long-term equity mutual fund. Large cap mutual fund, right? Maybe if you have some medium terms goal, maybe go for a mid cap equity mutual fund and put all in there. So at max have 5 or max to max 6 mutual funds, not more than that, and try to club them together in coordination with your goals. That goal planning exercise would help you a lot taking these decisions.
Okay, and sorry, one counter question to what you just said. So when you say that not have more than one fund, you mean per category, right? So for example, if I'm investing in multi-cap category, then I should not have more than 2 multi-cap funds. Is that what you meant to say, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And my second question, Akshat, was related to, again, the point that you shared in this today's session regarding the portfolio rebalancing. Now, again, I'm just asking, I'm not too sure if you'd be comfortable answering it or not, but there are this many tools right now available in the market who helps in getting your portfolio automatically rebalanced. Like you invest X amount of money and then they buy stocks on your behalf, and then they tell you that okay, now is the right time to rebalance your portfolio. So you sell these stocks, buy these stocks, etc. So what's your take on these platforms that offers this portfolio rebalancing feature, where one does not want to get into the nitty gritty of doing the technical analysis, but then rely on someone else's expertise, not mutual fund, but let's say in this case, these platforms that are available?
Are you talking about small case?
Like small case, ET Money, or I think Deezo is one of those.
I am sorry, but I'm not very aware of these instruments that are offering automated rebalancing.
Okay.
Obviously, I mean, to do that, it's tough to kind of make sure that they're doing it as per. See, I mean, I'll go once again from the theoretical standpoint, right? So the ET Money guys or the small case guys or XYZ platform guys don't know what your goals and what your risk appetite is, right? You've made the investments based on your goals, your risk appetite. They might rebalance it based on the understanding they have with respect to market conditions, right? So it's always better to have the power in your hands that you can rebalance your goals and things according to what you feel is the right thing, rather than having a third party do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be my answer. Gautam, anything that you'd like to add on to that if you're aware of it?
Yeah. And so, coming on to this small case thing or ET money also, right? So, am I audible, Akshay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, see, the thing is, even in the small case, I hope you are aware of the nitty-gritties of the small case, how it works and all. So, even if small case, does rebalancing and all, so it needs your approval, right? Without your approval, you can't do the rebalancing on their own. Even
Right.
the ET money, right? If they are offering auto means rebalancing strategy, whatever may be the frequency, whether it is annually or half yearly. Okay, so your approval is required,
Mhm.
right? So that means basically it's not auto rebalancing or auto. No, they're not doing on their own. You need to give approval, then only. The thing is, this is one thing. Second thing is rebalancing. So you need to rebalance your portfolio, right?
Yep.
Because let's say your asset allocation, depending upon your goals and all whatever, so it comes to 50% equity, 50% debt. And let's say there is a rally in the stock market in the past 2 years, right? And your equity has gone up. So you have the reason, right? Why? Because of two things. First thing is your asset allocation. The second thing is you need to book profits at some
Mhm.
point of time, right? Because that rally will not sustain for long. At some point of time, market will correct, right? And that correction we have seen in the past 6 months. So you have the reason for rebalancing. So rebalancing strategy can be done. Okay, you can go ahead for means whenever these uh, small case or ET money on whatever basis they are doing rebalancing. So
Mhm.
obviously, I'm sure based on your asset allocation, only ET money will do the rebalancing. So I think yes, matlab, you should do the rebalancing.
Yep, yep. Because I was asking from that sense that let's say the major chunk of our investment portfolio that goes with our goal-based approach. But let's say sometimes when we have
Right.
some additional disposable income available, but we don't want to directly like madly buy any stocks, but at least rely on some experts' opinion on which stocks or portfolio of stocks to buy, and take our call. So from that perspective, I wanted to know like if you guys recommend doing that, or is there any other option that you recommend to invest your disposable income?
Yeah, yeah, you can, rely on your wealth advisor, whoever your advisor is, and that's why you have the advisor at very first place, right? So if you trust your advisor, if you trust his rebalancing strategies, then you must rebalance your portfolio,
Okay,
whatever your advisor suggests.
okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akshat and Gautam. I don't see any raised hands now. Are the questions in the chat box and the Q&A answered, Akshat?
Yep, I think we've answered most of the questions.
Great. So, any other questions from the audience, or we'll wind up the session for today? If you have any questions, you can just put it on the chat box, or you can raise your hand so that you can ask your question directly. Otherwise, I think we'll wind up the session. So there's one question from Shivani Singh. It says, way to invest bonuses or extra money we get.
Give it to me, Shivani. No, Shivani, it's all the same concept, right? What we've learned, the same set of places. I mean, if let's say you have a long-term goal into picture and you get 1 lakh rupees altogether, right? So see how you can diversify that money to achieve the same goal, right? So it could be parking a lump sum of that amount to achieve, let's say, the car that you want to buy in 5 years from now. So there is no additional opportunity or an additional avenue that you need to look out for your bonus investments. Use the same ones, right? It just helps you reach your goals faster.
Okay, so the goal setting, I think, forms the base for all your investment things, and then you have your goals in place, and you know where your money is going.
Correct.
So yeah, there are no other questions. Just like to take this opportunity to thank Akshat and Gautam for coming in this afternoon, taking a wonderful session, and and you've seen the Excel sheet. I think has a lot of fans now. People are asking for it. I think that is a great thing that we've had on session today, where we could clearly see how can we set goals, what are the allocations that should be made. I think that's something wonderful that we've done today, and also learned a lot of practical tips and theoretical concepts that we did not know. At least I did not know so far. So thank you so much, Akshat, for coming in and for the insightful session that you've presented us today. And thank you all the audience for coming in and staying. We've had the session for 2 hours. This is the first time we've done a session for 2 hours. Thank you for staying, sitting through the 2 hours. I know, and I hope at least 50% of you all get benefited from the session today. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hosting more sessions with Akshat on different topics and in the months to come. And signing off for today. Thanks, Akshat.
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you once again for having us here. It was wonderful doing this session for all the people.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.